Nick Meacher here with Survival Dispatch Insider. So one of the videos we got asked to shoot was what's my setup. You've seen a video with Chris's setup and Nikki's setup in their vehicles, and so this is mine. This is kind of like version 2 or 3 or something, as I've swapped out radios over the years. So my main radio now is the Yaesu FTM 400. It's got some letters after it, which I can't remember. It's a 2 meter, 70 centimeter radio with dual, what they call dual VFOs. So you have 2 frequencies up here at any one time. You can select whether if you want to listen to both or one, etc. I have one side set up for my VHF, UHF stuff. Right now we're programmed up with stuff for my road trip down here to Florida. So I've got some of my home stuff and some stuff from different states all the way through. A couple of things it allows you to do. First of all, you know, in this particular case, I've put the call sign of the repeater up there. In some other cases, I might have something else up there to indicate like it's a linked repeater or a fusion repeater, because Yaesu does a mode called fusion. And so still playing around with that, figuring it all out. It has GPS in it. So there's a GPS antenna on the back of here. And that's used for APRS, and I'll talk to that in a minute. So you can just, you know, change the buttons, change around, you know, whatever's in there. I usually have a cheat sheet, especially for road trips, that tells me what is in everything, so it's quick to jump to. I usually list stuff by a county, so, you know, we're down here in Lake County, I think it is where we are. I can't remember. And so it lists everything that's programmed in here. So there's lots of menu options, so you can keep 4 up on the screen. I have one of the ones that I have is scan, which I don't have programmed in this feature, but I do in my other programming for this. Another nice one is a keypad, which allows me to jump to any memory position that's in the radio by just keying in the number. So you don't have to keep twiddling the knob. It allows 500 different channels, different frequency programming parameters in it for each bank. So you can have one set in one bank, one set in another. It will, you got menu driven, so, you know, if you hit and hold this button here, I can go in and change the display. I can change PL tones. It does the signaling stuff. It's got APRS settings. The other nice thing with this radio, the programming cable that comes with it works with the RT Systems programming software. So you have to pay, you pay $25 for the software. You don't have to pay for a cable because it's the same cable, which is nice when you're setting up 500 channels. And the other feature that it has is it uses a micro SD card. So for this trip, I programmed up 3 different cards for different legs of my trip. I just plugged the card into the head of the body of the radio, which right now is sitting down by the seat here because I've not got it fixed in there. And I just plug it in, push a few buttons, and it will read that SD card, change all the programming. We have APRS, so that's, I'm turning that off because he's talking. Automatic packet reporting. So you'll see that this bank, my B bank here, and I can change where the letters are too. That's another feature. So right in this case, I've made the lettering large and the frequency small, and that tells me it's APRS, and APRS will send out, however I've got it programmed, my call sign, my GPS location, and whatever data I choose. So it's also programmed to send what frequency I'm on here. So somebody's, you know, sees it and say, hey, you're nearby, especially if I'm driving across state, I might be on the National Simplex channel 146.52, and they can see that and they can, hey, call me up and say, hey, you know, chat. So it's programmed to send out, you can, there's different ways you can program it, but it will send your speed, it will send your location, it will send your altitude. You could actually do text messaging on it, so you could actually get it to send a message. It will display a message that's always up there. There are some messages in here, if I go into that feature, that are preset for you. So position comment, and I can go in here and there's a number of different ones I can select, like off duty, en route, in service, returning, committed, and then there's some custom ones you can program in. And then the other one that's in here, especially if you get into trouble, is emergency, and I'm not going to turn it to that because what'll happen is it says OK. And if I hit OK, it's now going to send out my location, my call sign, with emergency after it, and anybody that's looking at APRS, it's going to flash up on their radio. So we won't do that. It will, oops. I can also get it to tell me who's around me. So it's another display option that you have. So it's programmed right now. It's that if anybody's within, I think I set it at 20 miles, 25 miles, and is sending out an APRS signal, it will display this screen for a set period of time, and it will show me their distance and direction from where I am, how far away they are. There's a group that I work with, Colorado 4x4 Rescue and Recovery. They go get people that are stuck off of trails up in the mountains, and they use this a lot so we can see where the teams are, and it will work when places where voice radio just doesn't work. So nice feature that's in there. There's lots of other features of this radio. I've only had this for probably 6 months, so there's things I'm still learning about it. But this is my go-to radio right now. The other radio that I have in here is a DMR. That's digital mobile radio. So that's a digital form. It's becoming quite popular around the country now. There's things called Brandmeister, which is just a network essentially. That takes a lot more programming. It's not something I can just program in a frequency off the keypad, which I can do with this one. If I'm driving around, I don't have something, I can use the repeater guide app, which I have that in my phone here. So if I pull that up and go to repeater book, it will tell me where I am, and then with the distance and frequency information to the nearest repeaters, and I can actually just program that in to this one. With digital, there's other parameters you have to have, and so it's not easy to do off a keypad. This is one of the only ones on the market right now that does 2 meters and 440. DMR was originally a commercial development for commercial radio systems, and hams have adapted it, as we do. We're pretty good at that, for our use. So originally most of the radios were in the UHF or 70 centimeter band, 440. And so not much marketing to the ham community with dual band radios, which is what we like. So we'll do analog stuff. One of the next programming iterations is I have analog in it, but I'm probably going to remove it now that I have this one and can program everything I want. So right now this is programmed up for DMR repeater here, near here in Gainesville, Florida. And my display, and I'm not sure how well you can see it, but I've got a limited number of characters here. So right now it says Gaines, so I know it's Gainesville, and then it tells me what talk group that is, and this one's the what they call local, and I can change by using the microphone what the talk group it's on. So this one, again, it's the Gainesville repeater, but this is the Florida talk group. So that would bring up every repeater that's on the Florida group network, and there's a few others in here as well. Takes a bit more programming, but the nice thing is this has a remote head, as does this. This mounts on this little pole here, and so this one is actually just velcroed in there in this little cubby, and it fits just perfectly. The actual control guts of the radio are actually underneath the passenger seat there. So that's my setup. Works quite nice for me so far. It's always doing tweaks. One of the other things you'll see is where are the antennas. So the antennas on this one are on the lip of the hood. They're at such a position you can still open the hood without getting the antennas pinged on the roof. And the reason I did that is if I put the antennas on the roof, I'm going to rip them off every time I go into my garage. So something to consider when you're trying to put antennas on is where can you put them without causing, whacking them off. And I have done that with a few of these. This is like the third set of antennas on here because the other one I had was too big and I pinged it a few times or hit it on some trees or something. So I got a friend that helps me with the installation, so wires are all out of the way. That's always the challenge doing something like that. So anyway, that's my setup. If you like the video, hit like below. If you got questions, post them. We'll do our best to answer them. And until the next time, because it started to rain again here in Florida, which it seems to do quite regularly, we'll catch you again down the page. Come on over, join Survival Dispatch Insider. Lots of articles on all kinds of stuff. For that, have a good day and stay dry.